A woman in her element is a force to be reckoned with. We are comfortable with our path and stay true to our course, yet we are often, and mistakenly, underestimated. You will recognize it when you see her, for this woman will have a look in her eye. The adventurers, both big and small. The too loud, the too much. The ones who swear like they mean it, cry too often, feel too much. The ones with strong opinions, the ones with experience, the ones without that are trying it anyway. The I've done it 1,000 timers. The ones who aren't afraid to say, I've never done it before.
I remember ever since the first time I went, it was all guys. And walking in the first time, I was the only girl there, and everyone looked at me like I was like a foreign species or something. People weren't used to a girl getting into hunting, and everyone, people would come up to me and just talk to me. They wanted to know, every day, people would come up to me like, how'd you do? They were so intrigued that a female was getting into hunting, and they just loved it.
My name is Carol, and I will be 57 years old in a month. I've started out in short distance, sprint distance triathlons. I've done Olympic, and now I've done a half Ironman. 30 people or more all taking off at the same time, swimming around you and bumping into you. And when you're swimming out in the Great Lakes, and you've got 3-foot swells and it's choppy, keep breathing, just keep swimming. And I've been able to get through it even with some really big waves and crazy water conditions.
I'm 12 years old, and all my friends think it's 100% amazing that I sit on a sled. It's a 2-day 45, which is 90 miles altogether. And then eventually, if I get old enough and I have enough experience, I'll do the Iditarod. But I don't know if I can make it up there.
I think that's probably a little bit of my Iowa upbringing. I'm a pretty roll up my sleeves, Midwest, just forge ahead until the sun goes down kind of person. I purposely had a pink bike because I just want to shove it in everybody's face. And it was great, right? Nothing better than passing a guy on a pink bike.
I guess I just really liked the thrill of it, and I was terrified. Being a female was definitely a factor in intimidation, for sure. My first time rock climbing was outside in South Dakota. It was a 100-foot rock, and I went with a bunch of dudes who've been climbing for years, and I was just
just being a girl was kind of I don't know, if I could really do this. This is just such a male-dominated profession.
I think women inherently feel in order to do something where they have male counterparts, they feel like they need to be an expert in it. You can't show any sense of flaw or not knowing what you're doing because you don't want people to assume, oh, she's a girl. So you have this kind of inherent mindset that you try to overcome, but then eventually it clicks and you realize they all had to start somewhere too, and chances are they didn't know what they were doing when they started. And once that clicks, it all makes sense and that intimidation goes away.
I mean, women are my favorite people to get advice from because they have a perspective that's applicable to me and my body and how I move. And I'm not a very tall person. So a lot of times when I get instruction from men, it is helpful in a lot of ways, but it's not always the best instruction for how I should go up the wall. So women have really good advice into you really need to use your legs because you don't naturally have as much strength as a man. So my footwork has gotten really good because I'm trying to use my arms as little as possible.
When I first got into triathlon and joined our multi-sport group in our community, I was amazed at how many women were in the group. They are so accomplished. I mean, so many of them have done Ironman and lots of ultra marathons, and you see them doing it and they're like, yeah, you can do this too.
I think it's camaraderie is really what brings women back, what brings me back. So if I know there's going to be people like me at the trailhead, if there's going to be people like me in that class, I'm probably 100 times more likely to get back into that sport or to stay in that sport or activity. If I have people like me there, yeah, absolutely. That keeps you going.
Each of these relationships is incredibly unique, yet utterly universal at the same time. We recognize these women because they stand out in our lives for so many reasons.
I have a reputation in the community, especially among the children, of someone who can be counted on. And they know every time they see Miss Angela, she's gonna look glamorous. They can count on that one.
Cause it's all about, I mean, it cracks me up. People think you can't be glamorous on a bike. I used to ride around in heels in LA all the time. And they're just like, you ride in heels all the time. Just cause you don't see it don't mean it ain't happening. So I brought a pair that day and I rode in the parking lot to show people. Everybody around the globe, one of these things right here, is riding bikes. They ride them in South America, they're riding them in Africa, Europe, and Asia. So if you learn this discipline, not only will you experience freedom, you will be able to ride around the globe and not need a car. Do you know Miss Angela rode her bike for 10 years and did not own a car and started a business? A girl. That's what I'm saying, right? Robert, give me some. Damn. See what's possible?
If I had a little girl, which hopefully, God willing, one day I do, I would expose her to the outdoors very early. I would want her to be outside. I think I read a study that recently the average kid today spends 7 minutes outside, and that's insane. Like, you need to get outside, you need to play, you need to get dirty.
Forever. Like, there wasn't a time where I didn't have a fishing pole. I've always been fishing, so I can't remember the first fish I caught. I barely remember, like exactly where I was. It's just always a feeling of being in the water. For me, it's not necessarily issue-driven. It's a way of life. It's the way you're brought up. It's the way that you're raised.
I want them to just grab a fishing pole and take off to like the neighbor's pond or somewhere down the road and like just experience those things, because it does so much for you mentally, and I think it grows you as a person too.
When you're ice climbing, you kind of notice that like in the end, all of the relationships you have with ice climbers are really positive. Even if the instructor is like super hard on you, it's only because they really like you and they want to push you.
You're with new people, and then all of a sudden there's this relationship that you didn't even know you had, and then it just comes all together. Like, I have a sticker on my water bottles that says the greatest thing I got from climbing was friendship. And I met a lot of cool people. Why do I do climbing? Well, it just makes me in my happy place. My dad ice climbed and rock climbed, and suddenly I just started doing it. And it was a whole new level.
We are together. We remind each other that we are enough, just as we are. We remind each other to keep our chin up. We shine the light for each other. As we open businesses, as we reach the summit, as we gain new experiences, as we travel far, as we skin our knees, as we go through life. All the while saying, silently or out loud, I am here for you, regardless of your success or failure. Women that are in our corner for the after party, but more importantly, remain our safe place to fall. We don't get through this beautiful, simple, messy, complicated, difficult, raw life alone. There are profoundly talented and brave women by our side. Some are biological, some are adopted. Some are here for a minute, some for a lifetime.
I really want to give inspiration to people who are young like me. Just get out, have fun, go outside, see the outdoors, get in the cold, build a snowman, even if it's just any kind of sport.
Hearing them cheering you on when you're running down the the finisher chute and, just that sense of, wow, I actually did it. I thought it was going to be terrible, but I actually did it and I feel great.
I had signed up for a 100-mile race, and I was kind of just starting to dabble with these that summer. And I remember as we were driving down there with my riding friend, and it was getting more and more undulating, like, oh, I am toast. This is not good. If this is the kind of train we're riding on, I'm going to be toast. A lot of my fortitude and a lot of just sort of my mental strength comes from my mother. So in those moments, yeah, you don't want to let mom down, right? So just keep moving on. And I could just hear her voice of you've got this. Just keep going.
When my legs are burning in the middle of the night, or I'm drowsy, or I just don't think I can make it, I think about those people. Escaping slavery in the middle of the night. Many of them no shoes on. It was wintertime. Many of them had children. Some people had their menstrual cycles. And they were walking. And they could have lost their lives. And she couldn't even read. So I say to myself, Stamps, I think you got one more stroke in you. I think you could do it. And I do it.
Kendra, who's here, she first taught me how to ice climb. And then Sasha is one of my heroes. I just am really happy I got to meet her. It was awesome. It was like my hero. It was like, oh. It just tells me that girls can be so much more than people think. We can be strong. We can do awesome things like she does. So I just am really happy I got to meet her.
Coming into this, I look around and there's so many amazing females around me, and just with the gender inclusion, I think it's just really incredible now how we're progressing, and I think there's still room for improvement, but I'm excited to be a part of it.
You will recognize it when you see us. We are strong. We pick each other up. We dust each other off. We are the light at the end of the tunnel. We are up for the challenge. We don't back down. So challenge us. We dare you.